And hello there. Today is December the 28th, I think. I think we're coming up to the end of the year. And so a lot of people are talking about New Year's resolutions. And so I kind of want to talk about that because I think the number one resolution is lose weight and go to the gym. That might be two resolutions. So I just want to talk about New Year's resolution and mindfulness. Now, I've got a lot to talk to you about, but it may not be a whole 30 minutes. So hopefully you can kind of bear with me on this. We're waiting on people to join us. Hi, Nisi. I see that you're already there. I am Dr. Polly Heil-Mealey at Abundant Health and Wellness, which is located downtown Humble at Main Street and Avenue C. So we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. Now, most of the time, New Year's resolutions do not get you through the first 30 days of the year. Because why? Because we're not mindful. And so I want to talk to you today about mindfulness so that you can keep these New Year's resolutions throughout the year, okay? So most of the time at the end of the year, what we're doing is we're looking back on our year. We're looking at things that maybe we had dreams, maybe we had goals that we didn't match, we didn't complete a project, or maybe we just had a really bad year and we're hoping the new year is going to be better. And so the end of the year is always a time for reflection, and this is why people make New Year's resolution, because they want to have a different outcome on the next year. It's been said that a new year, New Year's Day, is like getting a book with 365 pages and all the pages are blank and it's nice and new and pristine and no marks on it. And so you can do some things with that. And that is true. And the new year is full of promise. The new year is full of hope. And so we're going to kind of move forward on that. Now, I've got some notes here, so we're going to see kind of how far this gets us. So before you can have a resolution, right, you must have a revelation that something needs changing, okay? So that revelation might come when you're contemplating the past year. That revelation might come when you get on the scale. That revelation might come when you're not as physically agile as you used to be. So there has to be a revelation that something needs to be changed. And then there has to be a revolution. Now, a revolution, when we think about this, we think of to revolt. And I want you to think of revolting, because you want to revolt against your current practice, okay? So if this is your New Year's resolution is to diet, then you're going to revolt against the way you have been eating. Most of us eat the standard American diet, which that compresses to SAD, S-A-D, standard American diet. Most of us eat that, and we have all kinds of issues because of that. And so a good New Year's resolution is to change that. A good New Year's resolution is to go to the gym regularly. Now, I have from time to time, it's been a habit of mine to go to the gym, but I was really mindful last year and I went more than I have in the last probably 5 years. Now, did I go every day? No, I did not go every day, but I did go more than I have been going in the past 5 years. So I felt very good about that, but it was mindful. Okay, I was mindful about doing it. It's on my calendar. I know I need to do it, even though I don't want to do it. And I've talked to you guys before, you know, people that work out all the time, they say it's so exhilarating and it's, you know, you get this Zen moment and all that. That never happens for me, but I do it and my body shows that I've done it with flexibility and agility and strength and all that kind of stuff. So that is a very good thing, but you have to revolt against the way things were before, okay? So, to revolt, the definition is to overthrow existing conditions. And you have to do that on purpose. You can't just decide, oh, I'm going to change my eating habits, and then you go to the grocery store and you buy the same thing, or you come home and you look at your cookbook and you cook the same thing. If you are spiritual, you might want to decide a New Year's resolution is that you want to read your Bible more, you want to pray more, you want to intercede more. If you don't have a plan, if you're not mindful, then this is not going to happen. And this is why a lot of times people are not able to follow through on their resolutions, is because they don't do it mindfully. Now, mindfulness is, I looked on the internet, and there's all kinds of psychobabble stuff out there, guided imagery and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really into that. As a Christian, I believe that the Holy Spirit leads us into all truth and that kind of thing. So I'm not really into some of the New Age things that are out there. But I have noticed, especially with diet, especially with food choices, if you are mindful, then you're going to make better choices. And so that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today, is developing mindfulness, okay? So a New Year's resolution, or any kind of resolution, involves the act of resolving to do something. That is deciding firmly on a course of action. Now, a lot of times, and I remember being a girl doing this, I would write in my diary my New Year's resolution, but I wouldn't have a plan to do that, so it never happened, okay? Then I got depressed and bored and that kind of thing, and so I didn't do resolutions for a long time. The last real year that I did a resolution was almost 20 years ago. And I developed mindfulness at that time. And we had a huge life-changing event, and it caused me to really, really be specific in my thoughts, specific in my intention, and specific with a plan of action. And so that's really what mindfulness is. Now, I'm going to read some things about mindfulness. Think about over the holidays. Think about conversations that you had. Think about when you were really intent on listening, or if you were busy cooking and they were yattering and you really missed most of the conversation because you were intent on doing something else. Mindfulness is being present in the moment, okay? You're present. I am focused on you. I am listening to you. I am hearing what you say. I'm not really just hearing the sound, but I'm really involved in the conversation. And so I'm actually hearing and listening to what you're saying. That's mindfulness. When it comes to the body and it comes to regaining health, you have to be mindful about it, because anytime you have a revolution, it's usually war, right? It usually takes some kind of definitive action, so you quit doing things the same old way. And so when we're dealing with health, when we're dealing with mental health, when we're dealing with physical health, when we're dealing with dietary health, we've got to be mindful. Now, I'm going to post a questionnaire for you, and I like this, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I also want to talk to you about some mindfulness. And like I said, on the internet, there's all kinds of things out there that are about mindfulness, but this is from the Mayo Clinic. So it's very easy to understand. So I'm going to talk about some key points on this and how we can work with that with our health. So what I want you to do is not just have a goal of, I want to eat more healthy, I want to work out more, I want to get off my prescriptions, I want to see a change in blood work. Those are all very lofty goals, but they're not specific enough for you to have a benchmark to know when you have reached them, okay? So like I say, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a type of meditation in which you focus on being intensely aware of what you are sensing and feeling in the moment, without interruption and without judgment. Practicing mindfulness involves breathing methods, guided imagery, and other practices that relax the body and the mind and help reduce stress. Now, I'm not talking about guided imagery here. What I'm talking about is focusing on the moment, focusing who you are, where you are, with whom you are, who are you with, those kind of things. You're focusing on what's happening. So one of the ways that we lose our mindfulness is because we have our little smartphone with us and it keeps distracting us from what we're trying to do. I cannot tell you how many times I've tried to have a conversation here in the clinic and the patients, their phone just keeps going off. Now most of the time they're not looking at their phone, they're not attending to their phone, but just knowing that somebody is reaching out for their attention, it takes their mental awareness and their mindfulness away from what we're doing onto something else. And so when we are mindful of things, then we have to get rid of all of the distractions. Now, I will tell you, I learned something a few years ago that I could turn off notifications on my cell phone. And it was like, oh my goodness, my life just got so much more peaceful because my phone wasn't nagging at me every few minutes whenever a Facebook post would come up or an email would come up. And it was just like, oh, just a weight was lifted because that silly phone was always demanding my attention. And that's not what we want. We want to be mindful, especially if we're trying to change our health, especially if we're trying to change our food, especially if we're trying to do exercise and that kind of thing. We have to be present in the moment and turn off all of the distractions. So the Mayo Clinic guy goes on to say, spending too much time planning, problem solving, daydreaming, thinking negative or random thoughts can be draining. And it can more than likely make you experience stress, anxiety, and symptoms of depression. Now, almost every patient that comes in here says that they experience anxiety and they are a little bit depressed. And so I know holidays are kind of difficult for a lot of us. We've lost people. All of us have the expectation that we're going to have a Norman Rockwell kind of Christmas, and it never quite works out the way we want it to work out. And so there are expectations that are not met. As I said earlier, we might be looking over the past year and be very disappointed in ourselves and our behavior. We had good intentions, but we didn't have a plan. So what I want to do is make a plan, okay? Practicing mindfulness exercises can help you direct your attention away from random thoughts and negative thoughts and engage with the world around you. Now, a lot of times when you go on vacation, you go to the beach, you go to the mountains and that kind of thing, your whole surrounding has changed. And so everything is brand new. And so you're more mindful of it because it's not the same old, okay? So practicing mindfulness means that you are looking at your current situation with new eyes because you are actually being aware of what's going on. One of the exercises that I read about was to look at a raisin. Now, we all know what a raisin looks like. We've all eaten raisins. We can imagine that little red packet that Mom used to put in our lunchbox, right? But and this is a guided imagery thing. They said, look at the raisin, count how many wrinkles it has, smell the raisin, kind of decide the dimensions of the raisin, and think about the way the raisin tastes. So you're actually focusing all of your senses on that raisin. Now, that might help you develop some mindfulness, but in the real world, is that going to make any difference in the way you choose to eat your food? No, it doesn't. So I'm going to teach you a different way to do that, but you're going to find some different things up there. So what are the benefits of mindfulness? It will relieve you of stress, anxiety, pain, depression, insomnia, and high blood pressure. Now, this is all the Mayo Clinic has found that people that practice mindfulness are able to alleviate these conditions. The research shows that this is true. So, preliminary research also says that this kind of mindfulness can help people with asthma and fibromyalgia. So if you have fibromyalgia, you know you're in pain all the time. So this is something that you might want to do. Mindfulness also improves attention, decreases job burnout, improves sleep, and also improves diabetes. So that's good. So you pay attention. These are just some little bitty steps. You pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on around you. You live in the moment. Here I am right now. I am with you. I am doing whatever I'm doing with you. Whatever is an hour later on the calendar has to wait until that time. My brain is not focused on that. My mind is not going there. My cell phone's not coming on and that kind of thing. And so those are kind of things that we need to work on that. Okay, we have a question. What can I give my 4-year-old for allergies? Oh, okay, we'll address that in a little bit, Candace. Thanks so much for that. Accept yourself. This is part of mindfulness. Accept yourself. Accept what is going on, what has gone on that you're not happy with, and how you can change that. So you have to be accepting to yourself. And then you have to focus on your breathing. When you focus on your breathing, then you're focused on the moment. And we've got, with our HRV, we've got a breathing treatment that we can help you with that. Now, we're talking specifically about diet. So let me talk to you about diet. We all have comfort foods. We all have those stressful days, me included, that we want to eat the starchy foods or we want to eat the comfort foods, which we all know are not the best foods for us to eat. So I don't like to say in the clinic, you can never ever have macaroni and cheese. That happens to be one of my favorites. I make it from scratch. I make it organic. It is absolutely delicious, and it is really, really a comfort food. Now, it's not the best food. Why? Because it's made out of pasta, and pasta is what? A starch. Starch is made of flour and water, and we all know from kindergarten days, flour and water makes paste. And so when it gets in the gut, it makes paste, and paste just glues everything together in the intestinal tract. So we don't want that. That's not a food that we want to eat all the time. But sometimes, if I'm stressed, I will on purpose make that food. I will enjoy that food, but I won't overeat. I will enjoy making it. I will look at the portion. I will have portion control on my plate. I will be very mindful of this is what I am doing. This is why I am doing it. And this is the end result that I want from doing it. My end result is I want to get over the stress of the day. Same things with foods that we're not supposed to eat. Now, when we give you that folder, when you come in here, that colored folder that we send home with you, one of the pieces of paper that we have in there is dietary suggestions. There are things that we want you to remove. There are things that we want you to decrease. There are things that we want you to eat in moderation. Then there are things that we want you to increase in your diet. Now, a lot of times people will come in and they'll take that avoid list and they'll just start avoiding everything. Well, that just sets you up for failure. What we like to say is take one thing per week. One thing. Take that out of your diet. Then the next week, add something else. And then the next week, add something else. It'll probably take you 3 months to get through everything we want you to avoid from your diet. But you're going to be doing it in a mindful way. Now, about 20 years ago, maybe not quite that long ago, I decided I was not going to eat any more pork products. Now, why? Well, I read an article written by a medical doctor in Germany that said here in the United States, and this is probably all over the place, but he cited a research paper here in the United States that said the FDA made farmers kill the swine before they reached their 6th birthday because by the time a swine was 6 years old, a pig was 6 years old, 100% of the herd had cancer. So we've always been told you are what you eat. Holistically, we say you are what you absorb. I'm not going to want to eat a food that is carrying all this cancerous material. I'm just not going to do it. That's not smart. When I'm believing for holistic health, when I'm believing for divine health, when I'm believing that I can get older chronologically but not fall victim to any of the age-related sicknesses and diseases, then when I eat a scavenger animal, now a pig is a scavenger. It cleans up the farmyard. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, don't tell me, but these are industrialized and they get their special mash that they get. Don't tell me that. The reason a pig has the anatomy that the pig has and the stomachs and all that kind of stuff is because it is designed to be a scavenger animal. So is a catfish, so is a lobster, so is a shrimp. So for that reason, because I do not want to eat scavenger food, I don't eat those food. I mindfully took those foods off of my menu and I no longer eat them. So you're asking me, like, how can you live without bacon? Well, I can live without bacon because I found out that even if you cook your bacon crisp, by the time it gets into your tummy, 45 minutes after that, you are full of threadworms. I don't want to have threadworms. I don't want to be a host for parasites, right? And so I avoid those foods that are filter foods, right? So that's what a catfish is, that's what a shrimp is, and all that kind of stuff. And so we don't want to do that. And they are on the non-kosher list. Yes, Candace is saying there, God says not to eat those. Yes, God says not to eat those. And so is that a law for us because most of us are not Jewish? No, I don't think it's a law for us. Do I think you can get to heaven if you eat bacon? Yes, I think you can get to heaven. You'll probably get there a little bit faster. But as part of my personal act of worship, okay, I choose not to eat those foods. Not saying you have to do that. I'm just telling you that's what I do. It's a mindful thing that happens. Now, yes, I go out and eat Chinese food and I kind of eat the wonton, but I don't eat the pork that's in the noodle. I just eat the noodle and I eat the broth. I eat pizza, but I'm very mindful and I pick off the Canadian bacon and all that kind of stuff. So I am mindful. Now, do sometimes I get something unawares? Probably, because who knows what they're putting in processed food. Not that I eat a lot of processed food, but we do go to restaurants from time to time. And so I do the best I can and I'm mindful of it. And so this is what I want you to be thinking about, mindfulness. So Cokes or something, Cokes, soda, whether it's a Coke or a Dr. Pepper Coke or a Pepsi Coke, whatever it is, right? I enjoy a soda ever occasionally. Now, I was raised, and I've told you guys this, I have been raised with parents that, I mean, they had a soda in their hand from the time they woke up to the time that they went to bed, right? And so I grew up thinking that that was the beverage of choice. And I remember going to Scotland when I got married and just horrifying the wait staff at the hotel where we stayed because I wanted a Coke with breakfast. And it was like, what? That's unheard of. But I wanted one because that was my lifestyle. Now, I don't have a Coke every day. I may not have a Coke in a week. But when I do have one, I'm very, very mindful. Okay, I'm very mindful that I have to drink 8-ounce glasses of water to neutralize the acid in that soda. My soda of choice is Coke, the real thing, right? That's my soda of choice. Am I totally soda free? No, I have a soda occasionally, but I'm mindful with it. So this is what I want you to do when you're making this New Year's resolution to change your diet, when you're making this New Year's resolution to go to the gym. I want you to be mindful. I want you to be mindful when you slip, okay? Because we all slip. So what I want you to do is think, okay, I have this plan. I made this resolution. I didn't keep it. Why did I not keep it? Probably because you weren't mindful. So I want you to take that, I want you to turn it, and I want you to be mindful and assess what happened. Did I forget that I made that promise to myself? Well, probably you didn't forget. You probably got busy. You probably got stressed. You probably got distracted. Okay? And so when we are mindful, none of those things happen. We have a plan. We execute the plan because we know that we have an end result. We do weight loss clinic here, and so it's something that we have a lot of people come in the new year and they say that they want to do weight loss clinic, and we applaud that because it's very, very successful. In fact, if you reference this video, we will give you weight loss clinic at the 2018 price, which you're going to save some money on that. But the thing is, with that plan, you are very, very mindful because we say you can do this, you can't do this, you must do it at this time, therefore, and so forth. So you're very, very mindful, and because your attention is on it, you're very, very successful. So when you make a mistake in your food, Maybe you drank too much at a party. Maybe you ate too much sweets over the holiday. Whatever it is, I want you to go back and deconstruct that and find out mindfulness, what happened to get me off my resolution. If you can assess why you got off the track, then you're going to be able to put a plan in place so that doesn't happen again. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to everybody. I'm going to post this little questionnaire, and this is, it's called the Self-Compassion Pause, okay? So the Self-Compassion Pause is when you see that you've messed up and you want to drill down and figure out what happened here. So this is what it says. It says self-compassion is a powerful tool you can use to improve your well-being, your self-consciousness, and your resilience, okay? Many find it easy to have compassion for others, but struggle in applying that same kindness to themselves. By taking moments throughout the day to pause and practice self-compassion, you can greatly increase this quality and make it a regular habit of your life. So I want you to do this. I want you to be mindful of your food. I want you to be mindful of your drink. I want you to be mindful of your health habits, going to the gym, maybe taking the stairs instead of taking the escalator, maybe taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator at school or at work. There are all these kind of things that we can make mindful things. Don't park in the handicapped parking lot. Park a little bit further back so you get some of that exercise. I think we need 10,000 steps in order to be healthy. When you move, you engender more movement. And so I wrote a piece about that in my blog last week. And so those are some things that you can reference and see. And that's also a peer-reviewed study. So I don't just throw things up there to throw things up there. I throw things up there that have been researched and we know that it works. Candace is asking again, does wormwood take care of the threadworms? Yes, it will. So I have a cat, and I've said this before, I love my cat. And the cat, all cats, all animals carry parasites, but cats are pretty more problematic than dogs. So I do parasite cleanses all the time. I eat out a lot. Okay, we have to go to functions and that kind of thing. It's not always food of my choice. So I always know that I'm very liable to get parasites. Why? Because the employees don't wash their hands. The cooks don't wash their hands. So I do parasite cleanse all the time. So I want you, as you move into this new year, to practice mindfulness, not only in your food, but in everything else. You can Google it, you can do a Google search, you can read some information. Basically what it is focus, be in the moment. Turn off your internal talk, okay? If your internal talk is negative, you'll never measure up, you're not going to be successful, you failed again. If that is part of your self-talk, that's very, very negative and very debilitating. We don't want that. We want your self-talk to be positive, to be encouraging. And the Bible says that we construct our world with our words. So I want you to be very mindful of what you're saying. Be mindful what you're saying to your children. Be mindful what you're saying to your spouse. But especially be mindful in what you're saying to yourself. So I'm going to say to you, in a very mindful frame of mind, I want you to be healthy. I want you to be well. I want you to make good choices. I want you to be joyful. And I want you to enter this new year with a positive attitude that things can change and you can finish 2019 much healthier than you enter into it. So that's my good words for you. So be blessed. Enjoy your New Year's Eve and your New Year's Day and write good things on those blank pages. So bye-bye for now and Happy New Year.